Let's take a look at some of Aurora's knights and warriors. The 50s and 60s issues of the Blue Knight of Milan. The rare 1959 Three Knights gift set. Originally issued in 1956 and re-released in 1963, the Blue Knight of Milan came originally in metallic blue plastic. It is very common as a built-up. 1956 and 1963 issues of the Silver Knight. The Silver Knight was molded in silver plastic, and like all knights, it came with a real feather. 50s issues of the Knights are more valuable than the 60s issues. Here's a look at the Black Knight boxes, the 50s and the 160s issue on the right. The Black Knight was of course molded in black plastic. The more common standing knights were originally issued in 1956 and were made right through 1968. The Red Knight in its 1957 and 1963 issues. The Red Knight was molded in metallic red plastic and was one of the knights that you could actually take his helmet off after you glued it together. The 60s issues of the Knight boxes were reissued in 1980s, and they came out of England. The 1957 and 1965 issues of the Gold Knight on Horse. The Gold Knight on Horse was a more expensive kit and had a lower production number than the standing knights. The knight and armor came molded in gold, and the horse, Black Fury, came molded in black plastic. 1968 brought us the Knights of Camelot series. These knights are the reissues of the Blue, Black, and Silver Knights. They added a common diorama base and also added a shield to each knight. Each knight came molded in different colors. In 1973, England got the mold and made some chrome-plated knights called the Knights in Shining Armor series. Very hard to find in America. Here's a look at Sir Percival, who really is the Red Knight. There were 6 different knights that you could get in this series. All the knights we've just seen were chrome-plated. Here's a look at the largest of them, the King Arthur box, which is really the Gold Knight reissued. He came with chrome-plated parts and a Black Fury black horse. Here's the 1959 Crusader box. The 1959 Crusader came with a spear, and the 1975 mail-away Crusader came with a sword and never was issued in a box. Both have blue plastic. The first issue, a more powder blue. This was also issued in the Chrome Knights of Shining Armor series. 1959 brought us the Viking. The Viking has only the one single issue, molded in ivory plastic, and it's not a very easy kit to find, either built up or mint in the box. So when you see a Viking for sale, grab it up. Maybe the last one you'll see. 1959 brought us the Roman gladiators. Both were molded in ivory plastic. One had a sword and a shield. The other one had a spear and a net. They were also sold together in the ultra-rare gift set. These first issues had rectangular bases and signs with scalloped corners that were not interchangeable with the later issues. 1964 and 1965 brought us the reissues of these kits, the Gladiator and Spartacus. Spartacus was molded in ivory plastic, and the figure is identical to the original issue of the Gladiator with the sword. Spartacus is more desirable because he's a character, and he sells for slightly higher than the other kits. There's lots of parts on the base of Spartacus: a broken shield, a broken helmet, a broken sword, and a severed arm. The second issue of the Gladiator with Trident is identical to the first, except for it has a new diorama base. It has a cloth net. It's molded in ivory or white and has a new sign. There's a lion which stands behind some bars. 1958 brought us the Three Musketeers kits: Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. Three Musketeers kits were molded in ivory plastic and were also available in an ultra-rare gift set. They had real metal wire for swords and sheaths, and they also had a real feather on their hats. They were very detailed model kits for the time that they were made in 1958. Watch out for spurs on the boots and belt buckles to be missing from these kits. And you could put the three bases together to make the all for one and one for all salute. 1965 brought us D'Artagnan, the fourth musketeer. D'Artagnan is actually the Aramis figure reissued with the arm lowered. The same metal sheath and sword comes with this kit. And a new diorama base was added, which is much more exciting than the first issue. The plastic was a pinkish flesh tone. The base contained a sword, a broken sword, and a lamp, and a sign. 1958's U.S. Marshal, 1966's Jesse James kits. The body of the U.S. Marshal, shown here on the left, was later reused to make the Jesse James kit. 1958's ivory-colored Marshal is harder to find than 1966's Jesse James. But Jesse, being a character, sells for more money. The U.S. Marshal's base is round and has a tin star on it. Jesse James' base has a lot more detail. It's molded in flesh color plastic. It has a rifle, a tree, a snake, a cactus, and a wanted poster on the tree. Jesse's not a very easy kit to find. Here's a close-up of his cardboard wanted poster. The badge on the Marshal was omitted on the Jesse James. 1959's Confederate Raider kit. This is a pretty tough kit to find, and you could see why. It has amazing detail. The rider was molded in ivory, while the horse, Black Fury, was molded in white. This kit was only issued one time in 1959, which makes it very desirable. Here's a look at some of the details of the rider and horse. 1960 brought us the Apache Warrior kit. The Apache Warrior was molded in tan plastic and came with the same horse, Black Fury, which was molded in a brown plastic. The Apache Warrior is a very scarce kit. I'd call it rare. There also was never a reissue on this kit. It just came out one time in 1960. And here's a look at some of the details the Apache Warrior has. (1966) brings us Hercules and the Lion. Molded in tan plastic, this also is a very hard kit to find. This kit was originally designed to be Tarzan, but the licensing fell through. There's a sign and a clump of grass besides Hercules and the Lion and the base. 1965 brought us Captain Kidd, the first of two pirates. Molded in a pinkish flesh tone type of plastic, this kit has a lot of pieces to get lost, but it builds a great detailed kit. Be careful if you buy this kit in built-up form. Make sure it's complete. Here's some of the details on the base. There's a skull, some bags of gold, a leaf, a treasure chest, a barrel. Here's an overhead view so you can check yours for missing parts. 1965 brought us Blackbeard, a much harder kit to find, but this is one of my personal favorites. There's so much detail on this kit. It's really an amazing job. I applaud Aurora for this kit. Type plastic. And make sure you have the decal on the treasure chest, because that's very often missing in built-ups and complete kits. Look carefully at the details on this kit, because there's parts that could be missing. This one, however, is complete. Here's a look at the rare Two American Fighters kit. U.S. Army Infantryman 2-box variations. The box on the right is much harder to find. This kit was molded in an olive drab green type of plastic and has a lot of details. It really captures the image of a U.S. infantryman. Kit originally came out in 1957. 1959's U.S. Marine kit. This kit was molded in blue and could be built both with either a sword or a rifle. And there are also 2-box variations for this kit, the 1959 and the 1962 versions. 1957's United States Sailor Kit. This kit is molded in white plastic and is the most common of the Armed Forces kits. It doesn't sell for very much, but it builds up a nice kit. I'm sure the supply will dry up eventually. 1958 brought us the Air Force Pilot and the Steve Canyon kits. Both the Air Force Pilot and the Steve Canyon kits were made from the same mold, and they were molded in green plastic. The only real difference between the kits is the decal sheet. One says USAF for the pilot, the other one says Steve Canyon. Here's a close-up look of some of the details. The Steve Canyon kit, a popular character in the late 50s, sells for more than the Air Force Pilot. 1966, with the Vietnam War, brought us the Green Beret kit. The Green Beret kit, a highly detailed model kit with lots of small parts to get lost, was molded in green plastic. Though sales of this kit were poor, it really hasn't driven the price up like a rare kit. Here's a close look at the base detail. Here's the sign, the fence, and the gun. Get out your military flat paints for this kit. 1967 brought us Aurora's long-boxed American Astronaut. In the 60s, while NASA's Gemini program was popular, Aurora issued this kit of the American Astronaut, showing an astronaut walking in space. I think they did a great job on this kit. Although this kit is very common and doesn't sell for a whole lot of money, it's still a great kit. 1966 is the flag raising at Iwo Jima. This model kit is 6 figure kits in one and builds the popular flag raising at Iwo Jima statue. The kit was molded in olive drab army green. Here's a close-up look of some of the details. You can see the spent shells and the feet shuffling for position. It has a rock terrain base and many soldiers. And there's a decal of the American flag which faces both sides of this built-up. Here's a warrior that became president. 1965's George Washington kit. This kit is molded in a dark gray plastic and a flesh plastic. Has lots of parts. Has a 3-part base. And this kit actually has the most figures out of any Aurora kit. However, they are all molded to the back base. Not like the Iwo Jima kit where there actually are 6 different figures. George is pointing the way while his crew lands the boat. This kit is one of 2 of the Presidential Series kits ever produced. They were planning to do 8, but for some reason cut it short. (1965) brought us the only other presidential kit, John F. Kennedy. Kennedy is seen seated in his rocking chair. This kit comes with a diorama background of a fireplace, a wall, and a rug. There's a flagpole in the corner, and Kennedy sits with his legs crossed. PT-109 photograph is a peel and stick decal which goes into the picture frame. There's books, bookends, and a real cloth flag. 1959's Indian totem craft. There was also Alaskan totem craft. These kits were just styrofoam statues that you painted. Paints were included.